What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we have a nice basic review for you guys today, and today is on an airbrush. This is a electric airbrush by imyyds. It's a different brand, never heard of it before, but I found it on Amazon. It had really good reviews on it, so I figured let's get it, and I kind of want to try it out because my old electric airbrush kind of took a crap, let's just say, and it's time for a new one. So I found this one, and this one has some, like I said, has some really good reviews. So let's go in the box. Like, the box is pretty basic. It's a nice hard box, comes in, so you put it away in here for storage, of course. And then let's go ahead and give it an open, and let's see what comes inside. So this airbrush, like I said, it is a full electric airbrush, so it means no air compressor is needed, no hose, no nothing. This is literally a full ready to get kit on airbrushing. So if you're brand new to airbrushing, I think this is actually a really good beginner airbrush because everything is included. So you get your basic instructions here on how to clean it and all that good stuff. On here, air compressor, how to connect the hose. So you get some nice basic instructions, so easy to read, and I know very nice laid out. So got that. So let's go ahead and start diving in. Of course, first things first is going to be airbrush. This is actually a really nice airbrush. It has some good weight to it, not crazy good amount of weight to it, like to a nice, high quality one, like an actual airbrush that connects to the air compressor. But this is actually pretty decent. The whole body is aluminum, including down here. The needle cover is plastic, which is not too big a deal. I kind of wish it was aluminum, kind of balance it out because it's kind of tip heavy, you want to call it. So because all the weight is going to the front, as you see. So, but not too big a deal. Of course, your needle and stuff up there. And then, of course, as you take this off, you have access to your needle. Take that out and take your needle out and clean it and all that good stuff. So, very awesome. You do have a needle adjustable, so it keeps you, keeps the needle from going back too far. It keeps you adjusted wherever you need it to be, or you can adjust back all the way to have your full throttle. Very nice, and has some nice downforce and throwback. So very cool. Of course, you do have your generic style cup. Cup just screws on, which makes cleaning much easier. And then your finger does not actually hit the cup, which is nice because there are some airbrushes out there your finger does hit the cup and it's kind of a pain. But this one has a nice space between the cup and your trigger, so very cool. And this is a twist cup style lid. So if you're doing portraits or you're doing something, you're tipping your airbrush. And this is nice to have, so you don't paint nothing from flying out. So very cool. So here's your one style cup. Of course, you do have in this kit, you do of course have two different cups. You do have a bigger one, which is plastic, and does have a measurement right there, which is nice. And also you do have a nice big long one. This is actually really good for doing portraits or any type of painting that you need a lot of paint for, and this keeps you from refilling your paint gun or your cup non-stop. So this is really nice, and these are just popped on, and again they're just twist on and they keep a normal cup. So very cool. Put those off the side, and then of course we get to the main air compressor. This is your air compressor right here. You got some nice basic instructions on here. You just keep this on here, or you take it off to preference. This is your power button, and this is what pumps up your air compressor. So turn it on, it's gonna pump all the air into here, and then you can hook up your hose, or you can hook up your airbrush just to directly if you want. But very cool. And there's your air compressor. You can go under here. You do have more accessories. You do have some airbrush cleaning tips for your brushes to clean your airbrush, eyedropper, and some tools. You do have a US Type, I believe this is a US Type C to USB, yes it is, to charge your air compressor. And then you do have a nice hose which connects your air compressor to your main airbrush, which is nice if you don't want to hold your air compressor onto your airbrush. You can just see your air compressor off to the side and just have your airbrush connected to this hose. So very nice. And that is all that is in the box. So I'm going to go ahead and get it set up, and we're going to do some test spraying, see how it sprays, and I'll tell you my thoughts at the end. Okay, so it's pretty basic. Get your airbrush set up. All you have to do is get your air compressor, and of course just twist on your hose. Make sure it's on pretty tight. You know, not tight, but you know, snug it, of course. And then of course connect the edit end of your hose to your airbrush. Okay. Then go ahead and turn your air compressor on, but I get filled up to air. And oh, there we go. It's already filled up. And then once you press your trigger, the air compressor will kick on, and it will keep itself aired up with full of air. So it would never run out. Very cool. So let's go ahead and get some paint in here and let's spray something and we'll show you how it works. Alright, we got the airbrush set up. We got some paint in here, just plain black paint, nothing too special there. And let's go ahead and we got a little test spoon here. So we're just gonna do some test sprays and see how it sprays and see what kind of thickness we can get this or how thin. So let's go ahead and start with thin. That's pretty good for what it is. Of course, you can go thicker. Let's see if we can get thinner than that. I'm not sure about that, but we can try. So that's about thin as I can get, which is actually pretty decent for portraits or whatever kind of painting you're doing. So let's go ahead and see what about full coverage, see how this sprays out. It actually sprays pretty darn good. It has a nice wide spray, which is really good for modeling, for model cars or anything like that. So yeah, very nice, and it, like I said, it sprays very nice, and it has a nice sugar throw, and it feels really good. This is rated about 15 psi. This sugar, the air compressor. So the only thing about this, you cannot adjust the psi. So I think it's 15. It feels like 15 to me, or 20. I can't remember. It feels like 15, between 15 and 20 psi. So again, you cannot adjust the psa on this, which is not too big a deal for me. But for those who want more psi, you can't. Like I said, you can't go any higher in this or any lower. It's only stuck at 15 to 20 psi, which is most typical for airbrushes. Airbrushes, you usually want 15 psi at the max, because you know you don't really want that. You don't really need that more. But as you can see, it works really good and it sprays out really good. So let's go ahead and get this paint out, and let's go ahead and see how the cleaning process is like. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this airbrush cleaned up. You might want to turn off your air compressor. So turn it off, let the air out. There we go. There's no more air. And go ahead and disconnect your hose to the airbrush. That way it gives you more freedom to work around your airbrush without the hose in your way. So first things first, you want to take off your cup. Cup is clean. I got the paint out to save some time in the video. And take out your needle cover. Put that back there. Take off your nozzle. And then of course you do have your nozzle release agent right there as well. Then this is where some paint will build up, so you want to clean us up as well right here. This is where your needle is sticking out. So just get a little microfiber and clean up right there. And then let's go ahead and release the needle. Take off the needle clamp and take out the needle itself. And there's our needle. And of course, just give your needle a nice clean up. And then of course, inside where your paint goes in for your cup, get in there as well, because that's where a lot of paint gets built up. And yeah, there we go. As you see, get this as much as clean as possible until the cotton swab comes out clean. Alright, there we go, and you do have some paint bleeding through. Not too big a deal. Get that thinned out as well. Get that clean. And go ahead and get your needle, and go ahead and run your needle through a couple times. Now this particular airbrush, you cannot run your needle through the airbrush, because there are some airbrushes where you can run your needle in and through out on the other side. That's what gives it a nice clean job, but for this one you can't do that, which is not too big a deal. And as you see, a bunch of paint is built up on there, so make sure you get this very cleaned up. And then again, just keep running your needle in there, back and forth, clean it off. This is going to keep building up paint. And of course, there's more paint going in there. You can go ahead and clean in here as well. There we go. Got some more paint in there. Because the airbrush or the needle is pushing the paint past that as well. So keep doing this until your needle comes out clean. And there we have it. Your needles come out clean. That means it's clean up inside, and you're good to go. So go ahead and lock up your needle in there. Get your needle locker, and go ahead and lock that up as well. Get your needle cover there, and then your nozzle tip. You can go ahead and get some as well, because there's some paint might get built up in there as well. We never know. There we go. Get that as clean as possible. And go ahead and get this locked in there. Get your needle cover. And there we have it. That's pretty simplified, and it actually cleaned up pretty nice. As typical, you know, most airbrushes have the cup nozzle separate, and that makes cleaning the airbrush out really nice. That's a nice feature. This airbrush has that, so very cool. So there we go, guys. That's a nice review of this airbrush. Like I said, I think this is actually a really good beginner airbrush. If you really want to start getting into airbrushing, but you don't want to spend hundreds, almost thousands of dollars into an airbrush setup, to a new airbrush, air compressor, all the equipment you need for it, it does get quite expensive. And for someone who doesn't know exactly to really be interested into it, you want to start out cheap but have everything included, I think this kit right here is actually really good. Airbrush, like I said, is high quality. It's all aluminum except the needle cover, which is not too big a deal. It just has a little front heaviness to it, but not too big a deal. It handles, my hand feels good. It feels really good in the hand while you grip it, so you have no issues gripping this airbrush. I mean, it feels really good, and yeah, really nice. So airbrush is good, high quality. You do have 3 different cup sizes, which is really nice and handy to have. Your air compressor, you do have included hose and your charging cord, and you do have cleaning supplies. So you really have everything to get airbrush ready to go in this kit, which is amazing. So very good airbrush. It's very good for portraits if you do like portrait painting, or even for me, I do scale models. This is actually really good. Now, one thing I don't recommend for people who do scale modeling, which is what my channel is about. If you do scale modeling, I don't recommend painting a whole body with this kind of airbrush. I recommend just getting an actual airbrush, because again, this is battery powered. Battery power, it can lose power while you're airbrushing, but you don't know it, and it can lose PSI pressure. Again, this PSI is around 15 to 20 PSI. So when battery goes out, you're going to lose pressure, and when you're painting the body, you're going to have uneven coats, and you're going to have discoloring. Who knows, the color won't be as good. So for painting whole body, I wouldn't really recommend, but for me, for what I use this for, I may use this for like window trims, or maybe a headliner, or something simple on a body that I just have to bring out my airbrush real quick and just do something quick and easy. This brings me out, this very helpful for me so I don't have to break out my actual airbrush. I don't have to break out my paint booth and break out my air compressor and stuff, hose and stuff. So this is actually really quick and easy for me for modeling. But again, very nice airbrush. I do recommend it. I'll provide a link in the description to this particular airbrush down below to Amazon. Again, it has really good high reviews. I want to try it out, and to me it works amazing. And again, huge benefit to me, it has multiple cup sizes and a separate air compressor with an actual hose, because my old electric airbrush used hatch the airbrush connected to the air compressor, and to me that gets kind of heavy, and you know, longer period of time it does get pretty heavy on your fingers, and it's like, oh my gosh. But again, you can attach this airbrush to this air compressor. It does work for those who just want to do a nice simple quick painting, and actually it works really good for portraits as well. But again, this battery pack, it does weigh some, it has some weight to it, so again, your hand will get tired of carrying it, and that's when you want to use the actual hose. But alright guys, that's it for this review video. Let me know what you think, and again, links in the description to this airbrush down below. But until my next video, I'll catch you next time.